Good morning, Sharks fans. We have some news to talk about. Join us right now here on Teal Town Live. Good morning, hockey fans and Sharks fans all over Sharks territory and around the world. Welcome to Teal Town Live. As we have breaking news, we have multiple sources reporting that Bob Boughner, along with his assistant coaches, have been relieved of their duties from the San Jose Sharks. We'll get into breaking down all of that and more, but first, of course, if you want to be part of the show, you can join us in the YouTube chat on the page or the app on YouTube. Of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I say good morning, Sharks fans. This is probably one of the earliest times we've been up. And,
amateurs.
Says the guy that has been walking around since early this morning. First and foremost, let's say Happy Canada Day to all our Canadian friends. And, of course, to you, Ian Reid. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good. Obviously, none of this is ideal. I had, plans. I brought the laptop and stuff, but the wireless here is garbage. Apparently, Nipigon is too close to Winnipeg. It's not, but apparently it's too close to Winnipeg. So all my best laid plans for having a contingency for this situation kind of fell through. So it's just me on my phone with my earbuds. Not the most ideal way to do this. I do apologize for any sound quality issues. Also, because I'm on my phone, I cannot see the YouTube chat. So if you are this is the best time to beak at me in the YouTube chat because I won't be able to see it. So if you want to spit your venom out at me in the YouTube chat, now is the time. I can't see it. It's fine.
So if you want to chirp Ian, you certainly can in the chat right now. We don't encourage that though. So let's start off with the timeline of everything that went down. About 5 a.m. this morning, Elliot Friedman from Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast with Jeff Merrick wrote out that he's been informed that Bob Boughner was let go by the Sharks last night. We also got a follow-up tweet from Pierre LeBrun in regards to that as to go. And then we found out a little bit later that Bob's assistants, John Madden, John MacLean, and Dan Darrow have been let go here. So, Ian, I'll first start off with the reaction to all of this and the timing of it.
I mean, the timing is screwed up, right? I've been long on the fan. I know I did a video earlier today that you can see on my Twitter feed. I did a video earlier and I kind of laid all this out, but I'll do it again. The timeline on this is all wonky. To me, can you still see me? Did I cover
you cover yourself up?
My hand. That's fine. All right. I was swatting at mosquitoes, and this is what happens. All right. So mosquitoes aside, let's try this again. I think the timing of this is all really dumb. If you were going to fire Bob Boughner, okay, that's fine. But if you were going to wait until there was a new GM in place to fire Bob Boughner, I could accept that. I was on board with that plan. I have been long on team, let it play out, because I thought that they would kind of, they'd get their ducks in a row and then they would do what they needed to do. But their ducks aren't in a row. There's no new GM in place, at least not yet, nothing that we know of. And if they did, wouldn't you have made that announcement too at the same time instead of we're going to fire Bob Boughner and in 4 hours we're going to tell you who the new GM is? I don't understand what they're doing.
So,
if you were going to fire Bob Boughner, why didn't you do it then? Why did you wait until now? There was a bunch of coaches that got fired earlier this season that probably could have been a pretty decent fit in San Jose. Now, is San Jose for sure going to get one of those coaches? No, there's no guarantee in anything. But wouldn't it have been nice to interview a Bruce Cassidy for this job?
Yes, and we have official confirmation from the Sharks just put out just a moment ago. The Sharks have relieved head coach Bob Boughner, assistant coaches John Madden and John MacLean, and assistant and video coach Dan Darrow of their responsibilities. So it is now official for that. I will say that the Sharks were planning to have a Zoom press conference about 2:30 today with Doug Wilson Jr., Joe Will, interim GM, in regards to what their plan is for the draft, and then a season in review recap. So I'm wondering if that's what the case is here. But getting back to what you just said, Ian, yeah, I mean, 3 weeks ago, this would have made sense because you had all the potential candidates out there. Now, I mean, what's really out there? Is Andrew Brunette the guy? Is it maybe David Quinn, formerly of the New York Rangers? And if that's the case, is that from a potential Mike Grier, hiring because of the tie that they have to the Rangers?
Yeah, I don't. It's dumb. Like, I don't understand. Like, if I could, I could deal with this a lot better if the GM was announced, but we still don't. Like, we can speculate. I mean, that's all we've had to do as Sharks fans for like a month, is just endlessly speculate. So you're right. I mean, you could speculate, oh, maybe they want to bring a guy like David Quinn in, but if Mike Grier's the guy, just say Mike Grier's the guy.
Right. And then, of course, we've had in the last hour or so some speculation from insiders saying that maybe Scott Mellanby is in the running, which is a name we haven't heard yet. Of course, there's also been...
I'm so over this.
I know. And then there's also talk that it's Ray Whitney. Me gushing over Ray Whitney as a player is will go on, but, you are essentially, as it came out yesterday, I think from LeBrun, that it's going to be a first-time NHL general manager.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, that's what I wanted. Like, when we went into this process, I that's what I wanted, right? Like, I didn't want a retread. I wanted a guy with fresh ideas. So, like, bringing in a guy like Mike Grier or Ray Whitney, like, I'll let it, again, I'm on team, let it play out. Like, do these names super excite me as a Sharks fan to be the next GM? No, I would rather a guy like Matthew Darche come in here and have carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants. But, like, you have to live in the world that actually is. And the world that actually is the Sharks are really dumb. And they've kind of just bumblefucked their way through this offseason so far, in my opinion. Like, again, waiting this long to fire Bob Boughner, complete amateur hour, in my opinion. Like, especially without having a GM in place. Like, if they come out later and say this is the new GM, and the new GM, this was a big part of the reason why they fired Bob Boughner, I guess I'm fine with that. But, like, why not just announce the new GM now? Like, I don't understand the cone of secrecy that has to be around the San Jose Sharks.
I mean, I get you want to hold your hand tight just in case something, you don't want to get
announce it.
But now, now it's...
If you've made a decision, announce it.
Yeah. No, if you
right?
made your...
Like, you're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference. No one's going to be like, oh, shit, I don't know who the Sharks GM is, so I'm not going to hire this guy. Like, if the Sharks know who their guy is, announce it. Like,
yeah, and
they're not winning. They're not doing anything clever.
My thinking is that, I mean, we heard earlier from Elliot Friedman, I think last week, that Chris MacFarland was asked, or I'm sorry, Colorado asked, or denied, I should say. Excuse me. Let's try this again. Mm-hmm. Anaheim and San Jose asked to speak to Colorado Assistant General Manager Chris MacFarland, and the Avalanche denied him. So you wonder if something's going on there, if there's a pay increase or that. We wonder what the same is with Matthew Darche. I know that was a name that a lot of people were asking about. But yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, like, the reason why this was taking so long, right, was because of, obviously, they're waiting to talk to, you want to, like, I didn't mind them not having a GM. I thought, like, people like, oh my God, the Sharks don't have a GM yet. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, let them, like, don't you want them to get the best possible candidate? And if the best possible candidate team's still playing, like, would you rather just have a GM to have a GM, or would you rather have the best possible GM?
Right.
Now, unfortunately, if you guys listen to the DFO podcast there with Dan Saravelli, and he was talking about how this isn't a a sexy spot for GMs, which I think is incredibly heartbreaking. Like I could think of a lot worse things you could do as a hockey GM as GMing a team in Northern California. Like, oh, the horrors. But if there's any truth to that, and Saravelli's usually pretty plugged in. He usually knows what the hell's going on. And so if he's saying that a lot of like prime candidate GMs are not are kind of balking at the idea of San Jose because Hasso-Plattner has unrealistic expectations for what this team needs to do and when they need to do it. I mean, obviously you want to get the best possible guy, but are they going to get the best possible guy? Are they going to get the best possible guy who agrees that he can turn this team back into a contender in a year and a half?
And that's the key issue as what they were searching. The Sharks have been very adamant about them being on the same page about winning now and getting back to where they want to be here. But yeah, the timing, again, like you said, the timing of this all is really, really concerning because now everything is pretty much gone. And like Lanical is saying here, way too long to fire Bob.
Yeah, way too long. Wait, it's amateur hour. It's absolute amateur hour. Here's the other thing too. Like I was talking about this on Twitter. Like the Sharks have a lot of carts lined up, but they don't have any horses for them. Yeah. So it's great you have all the carts. Where the fuck are the horses? And that's the problem I have with a lot of their moves this offseason is it's like, yay, we did half the job. Woohoo!
But also, here's the other thing. Some of the people would say they haven't done anything yet, and that's because they don't have a GM.
They haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they haven't. So I get, like, I tried to preach patience with this situation because, again, you want the Sharks to get the best possible guy. Are they going to get the best possible guy? Are they going to get the best possible guy that, like I said earlier, that goes along with Hasso's plan? Like, I've really turned on Hasso-Plattner over this week.
We have quotes from interim GM Joe Will, or as Jockey Drake would say, Joe Will. You're welcome, Drake. Mm-hmm. This is from the press release. No replacements are being named at this time. And Joe Will continues on and says, as we progress through our search for the next general manager of the Sharks following 19 seasons under Doug Wilson's leadership, it has become apparent that the organization is in the process of an evolution. The bottom line is we have missed the playoffs for the past 3 seasons, which isn't acceptable to our owner, our organization, or to our fans. As part of this evolution and evaluation, we felt it was in the best interest of the club to allow the next Sharks general manager to have full autonomy related to the makeup of the on-ice coaching staff moving ahead. I want to thank Bob, John, and Dan. That just sounds funny a little bit right there. For their dedication and commitment to the Sharks organization. The past 2+ seasons have been extremely challenging on and off the ice, and Bob and his staff worked admirably under some very difficult circumstances. This change is not an indictment of their performance as much as it is a recognition of the complete organizational reset that we feel is in the best interest of the team at this point.
But so, like, again, right? You want to get the best possible people in the best possible positions. By waiting this long to do this, the Sharks are not going to. I mean, again, is John Tortorella or is Bruce Cassidy or who, name your guy who's not Peter DeBoer. Are they coming back? Are they coming to San Jose to coach? There's no guarantee. But would you have liked to have interviewed? Like, I don't. Like, they say these things, right? And they say all the right things. But you waited this long to decide your coaching staff was shit? Like, what? I'm having like a mini aneurysm here. Like, I don't understand why it took this long for them to figure. Like, you're saying the right things, but you're not doing the right things.
And here's the other thing, Ian. You hear evolution, reset.
Like, what are you turning into a Raichu?
But here's the thing. It's literally you're dancing around the word rebuild.
No, they don't want to say rebuild because they're not going to do it.
Well, I mean,
like, here's the thing, right? Like, why didn't they do this at the same time? Like, if I'm the Sharks, right? I'm the Sharks, if I'm running this team, I do this the same time that I cleaned out the Barracuda.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
And that was over, what, a month ago?
Right? Like if you're making big changes like this, like I can't believe you sat in a boardroom or wherever they sit, you know, for a month debating. Well, I don't know. Is Bob Boughner the guy? I'm not sure. Should the new GM decide? I don't know. Like, who's making decisions here? That's the part that I want to know. Who is making these decisions?
Well,
Because that's the next person who should probably be showing the door.
Well, that would be Joe Will then, because that was all from Joe Will.
Is that Joe Will? Is it Joe Will, or is Joe Will just the mouthpiece for this?
That is a good point.
I mean, you can't fire the owner.
No. I mean,
can we talk about Hasselplattner for a minute?
If you like to, go ahead.
Okay. So Hasselplattner has been a guy who I've been pretty much pro most of his ownership here. Like, I think he gets a lot of heat that I don't think has been deserved, or maybe it has been. Maybe I'm the idiot, man. Maybe it's like, now seeing what we're seeing, like maybe Hasselplattner's ownership's been more dysfunctional than we think. Maybe Doug Wilson stayed the course for as long as he did, because Hasselplattner told him to, and that was the edict. Like, I've always been a fan of Hasselplattner, because, like, look at the Sharks, despite having attendance issues and everything else. This team, I expect them to spend close to the cap this year, right? Like, yeah. He pays the bills, and as I thought, and I still partially believe, like, Doug Wilson, as much as maybe I didn't like all of Doug Wilson Sr.'s decisions, I think he still ran a pretty tight ship. Right. So I still feel like, maybe did Hasso, we can debate that. But again, that's you're wandering into speculation land, and maybe we don't want to do that. But to me, I think that I always prefer the owner that pays the bills and shuts the fuck up and lets the hockey people do the hockey things. And I'm starting to wonder now, and with basically things that have come out, is Hasselplattner that owner? And you can't fire the owner. I get it. Like, so all I can do is just kind of be here on YouTube with a grumpy face. And I have no glasses on, so I'm probably squinting like super bad. And have a grumpy face and whatever. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm starting to have questions about Hasselplattner too, in all this.
To go with some of the comments in the chat, since I know you can't read it. Just another Randy G with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those always go help support the show and keep the costs for being a burden on all of us. He says, I'm all about these Ian rants. Sam Rod, Doug stayed on as long as he did because he had no one else to report to.
Yeah.
TC Smith, for the season ticket holders, SAP has a different meaning. Ian Perry was saying, if I was one of the GM candidates, I would withdraw my application after this. To me, I'm not sure if you completely, say, no, I'm good.
I mean, look, if you're looking to get a job, right? Like, I think, obviously, like, in order to get another job in the NHL, you need a job in the NHL. So I think if you're a guy like Ray Whitney, who's working in, like, who wants to be a front office guy and who's working in, like, on the league side of things, like, I think if this is your end game, is to be on the team side, then this is, I think you probably jump at this opportunity. I don't begrudge anyone for jumping at the opportunity, but man, yeah, I think there is a little bit of buyer beware here.
Yeah. Kevin Lacey chiming in via text is saying this is the answer to why Ian's why now question. Nothing confirmed yet, although I would think it's probably going to happen. I fully expect the Sharks to announce their GM today, if not Tuesday.
Here's the thing, right? So do it. Like, I don't understand why you would. You make your organization look inept when you make a move like this. When you look like you don't have all your carts and horses in a row, like, you look inept, and I don't understand why they're so, like, maybe they do name a GM like later today or whatever, but why not do that first and then fire your coaching staff, right? Like, unless if they want to, like I don't if you're a new GM, and I'm sorry I'm rambling here and I'm kind of stuttering a bit. If you're a new GM, like don't you want that gun in your barrel to fire the coaching staff? Like that's your freebie, man. They took that away from their new GM.
Or is it
the new GM doesn't get the easy win of firing the coach that everyone hates?
or perhaps it's basically down to whoever they picked. If they don't have a GM yet picked, and they all agreed, no, Bob's not our guy. So you can, if we're going to go full speculation season on this, if it's Whitney, if it's Greer, Scott Nickel, Scott
So
Melody,
name a GM and let him fire the coach.
or
like,
maybe
then name the GM.
Or maybe they all.
I still think you name it first.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Like, if even if you're down to your final guy, like I gotta start moving here. Then fire the GM.
Yeah.
or hire the GM and then let the GM do it. Like you look a million times more confident. I apologize if the sun goes super glary into my camera here. I gotta start heading back.
Yeah.
I gotta go deal with it because they're important.
But you have a nice. I will say this as the wind's starting to hit you a bit. Beautiful view.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
No, let's take a look at the view really quick.
God's country. All right. Well, this is the Nipigon Community Center. So we got a little swimming pool park. We got the little baseball dugout where I was hiding. We got we got a tennis court. We got a little hockey tennis court combination thing going on, which I think is amazing. God's country, man. God's country. I love it.
Nice. I wish you a happy Canada Day to you, good sir. I know took you out of your vacation time for this. But
I had to rant, so it's all good.
More comments coming in from the chat. Thank you all for joining. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. Somebody going, Ricky Barrett saying, is it totally outrageous that they would play a total wild card and try to pull in someone like Marleau to try as coach? I seems crazy, but based on their nuts decisions of late, not possible.
Nothing. I rule out nothing with this team anymore. I think this team will do some whatever dumb shit it feels like it wants to do. To me, Patrick Marleau, from everything that we've seen from Patrick Marleau, I can't imagine him with him being retired. I think he probably wants to spend time with his kids, man. I don't think Patrick Marleau is a guy who wants to just get back on the road again 24/7 and do all the stuff that goes with being a head coach in this league. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does want to be back in the game, but I think he probably wants to be a family man at this point, and
I think so too.
That's gonna be my opinion until I see otherwise.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a vehicle with some radio going on here. I apologize.
But I mean, this go on like Birch 7F91 was saying. Avs did it with Patrick Waugh. I mean, yeah, they did it with Patrick Waugh,
but Patrick Waugh was already coaching.
Right, he was already
Patrick
coaching.
Waugh was
Quebec.
running a junior team.
Right, and he was just going, and then he bailed on the team, and then they had
but again, you have to remember, Patrick Waugh was still in the game. He was running the Quebec Ramparts.
Right.
So it wasn't like he was still in the game, whereas Patrick Marleau seems just happy taking his kids to Disney World.
Yeah, he was excited to go have some churros and lobster nachos at Disneyland with the kids, and you know what? I don't blame him. Enjoy it. I think he's just going to be a family guy. No reference to Peter Griffin there. Yeah. David H saying, does anyone honestly think a brand new GM is going to keep the coach that they brought in just to avoid completely sinking the ship? Did anyone actually see Bob as the future head coach?
No, but I think you have courts and you have horses, and you have to put the horse in front of the cart. Yep. I'm ecstatic Bob Boughner's gone. Don't get me wrong, man. I don't want anyone to come away from this video thinking I'm a super Bob Boughner guy, because A, that means you've never watched a show before, and if you haven't, welcome. And B, where have you been? I hate Bob Boughner. I'm glad he's gone. But I just think there's a lot of alarm bells ringing off here.
Yeah,
that's all.
It does ring the alarms, and of course we were just enjoying the success of the team. I think going through how they kept this window open for so long, and that's the thing here. So we'll see. as it goes. As for head coaching, Berg's also saying, Ryan Clough had some coaching experience with the Newfoundland Growlers in the ECHL.
I don't think everyone that works for this team has to be a former Shark, though. Like, I just...
Isn't that the weirdest thing, though? The people we've been hearing.
I mean, you want some connections, but, like, San Jose isn't Winnipeg, man. You don't need someone who's been like, oh, well, I've lived in Winnipeg. I can deal with it. Like, it's San Jose. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I apologize for all the traffic. I have to walk back towards the house.
Yes. No, totally. We'll get this wrapped up here, but who can
all the traffic in this wonderful town of 1,700 people? I have apparently picked the busiest time.
So who do you think it could be? Is it Brunette? It could be like someone.
Oh fuck, I don't know, dude. Hire a coach. I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that's kind of been the way I've done this whole thing, right? Like,
right.
I don't want to look at. I understand that speculation is fun, but this team has just pissed me off to the point where I'm just done speculating. Like, tell me what's going on, and I will tell you what I think.
Yeah, and that's, I think, where a lot of people are wondering, where is this organization at? Where is it going to? Are you really trying to reset? What I mean. It's concerning. It's really concerning.
It is.
And it'll remain to be seen. Like I said, there is a scheduled press conference via Zoom that will be on, I believe it's at 2:30. It was originally set at 1:30 for today, but as far as I've seen so far, 2:30, 3 o'clock is what we're looking at. So we'll keep you updated. If we're able to upload that, we will. We will just keep out on our Twitter and Instagram feeds for more information. Ian, final thoughts? I know you've had a lot to say, but your final thoughts on this one is the Sharks are now looking for a new head coach.
Good riddance to Bob Boughner. But let's start acting like an organization that's actually run by competent people. That's all I want.
All right. So with that, we will reiterate one more time. If you're just joining us, Bob Boughner has been relieved as head coach of the San Jose Sharks. The assistant coaches, John MacLean, John Madden, and Dan Darrow, have also been relieved. For those wondering...
Oh, I feel bad for Dan Darrow, too.
Yeah,
I think Dan Darrow is probably one of the guys that would have kept her around. Hockey Jerk said this on Twitter, and I just want to echo that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens going forward there. Will we have a GM later today, or remains to be seen? My guess is that something's going to happen today. If not, it will be Tuesday, 2 days before the draft in Montreal. So with that, we will leave you for now. If any more news breaks, we'll be getting back on air with you here on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. And in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course, again, smash that subscribe button on YouTube. It's always available at tealtownusa.com. So for Ian Reid, I am Erik Kuhre, and we will keep you updated on our Twitter and Instagram feeds, and in news breaks, we will bring it to you on here. Until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great morning or afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you down the road fairly soon, we hope.